channel. It's Ashley Grace. Before you do anything, make sure you click that subscribe button, click that like button, and make sure you drop some comments down below. You have any more suggestions for any videos. But today I'm going to be discussing why I left Cali. So after I graduated from graduate school, I moved to California. The school that I went to was the Savannah College of Art and Design, and my intent was to move there to pursue a career in film acting. So I thought. And so that would be, like the next best place to go would be California. My sister Brittany was already living there for about 3 years at this point. So that was so because my sister was already living there, Brittany had been living in California for 3 years at this point. So that made my decision a little easier. And I knew that I would have at least family there when I moved there, because, moving from Savannah to California can be very much so overwhelming to someone. And it was very overwhelming for me. So to start from the beginning, I had just bought a new car and didn't want to spend all of my money that I had saved to move to California to just ship it to Cali. So my sis, thank you, girl, I love you so much. She volunteered to fly back to Savannah and help me drive to Cali from Savannah, which if you take your time, if you take necessary breaks, it should take you about 4 to 5 days. But if you're just trying to hump it and get it in there without really taking longer breaks, it'll probably take you about 2 to 3 days to get there, just depending on the person that you are. So we opted for the 3-day. So we only stopped to stay somewhere twice. Once was in Texas. Well, that was the second time. Once was in Texas, and I forget where we stopped the first time. But yeah, that's how we got from Savannah to Cali. And it was a very, very, very long trip. The only reason why I say I won't do it again is because I genuinely don't like driving long distances. If it takes me more than 3 hours to get there, then I don't want to do it. And that's just the God honest truth. I get woozy, I get sleepy. I can get motion sickness sometimes, and I'm just not trying to be in a car for that long period of time. But we had to get there, so that's what we decided to do. So once we got there, it was really, really late at night, so I really couldn't see my surroundings yet, and I had to wait until the morning. Brittany had already got us set up in our place. We shared it with another roommate as well. So we were already in our space, and basically it was just kind of up from there. So my first day in LA, I was like, wow, this is beautiful. Like most people do, the palm trees, the beautiful weather and everything. What I wasn't expecting was it being so dirty. I don't want to offend anybody from Cali, but from my experience, I was living in the Highland Park, East LA area. And the area that I lived in, it was very up and coming. It was like a hipster type of vibe, but I wasn't expecting it to smell the way that it smelled and for it to just be dirty to me. Like the trash system where you put your trash cans in the middle of the street, I wasn't expecting that. And I just feel like everywhere I went, for the most part, it smelled really pissy. And I mean, that's just the best way that I can possibly put it. So those were things, my expectations, my reality didn't meet my expectations when it came to that. The next thing was we went to the grocery store, and I'm used to things costing a certain amount of money coming from the Southeast and now moving all the way to the West Coast. And I broke down. I'm not even gonna lie to you. We went to Trader Joe's. It was my first time ever being in a Trader Joe's. And I was just, going through the aisles or whatever. And they had a can of tuna. They had a can of tuna that was $3.20. I remember it vividly. It was $3.25. And it wasn't like a big, let me see what I can. So it wasn't one of these like sizes of can of tuna. It was like your basic small size can of tuna that you can get from Walmart for like, I don't know. At the time, I'm pretty sure it was like maybe 80 cents. And that one can that I saw was $3.24. And I broke down crying. I ran out to the store and I called my mom and I was like, I can't do this. Mom, I can't do this. I'm going to die. I can't afford this. It's too expensive here. Tuna is $3.24. Like, it was crazy. And my sister was just looking at me like, girl, calm down. Like, at this point, she was so used to the pricing there, but she was just like, that's the Cali way. That's how things are going to be now. And I just was like, how am I going to make it through? Because I'm relatively, I would say that I'm not cheap, but I am frugal. And I do like to set a budget for myself. And anything that I can get on a deal, or if I know I can go to another store and get it at a cheaper cost, I'm going to do that all day, every day. So when I saw those prices and knowing what I know now, Trader Joe's is one of the cheaper stores. But that's neither here nor there. That's how I felt at the moment. Everything was expensive. Like the gas was like $5. I mean, I know around this time, this was 2016 where I moved to Cali, and I lived in Cali for 2 years. So gas inflation was still a thing, but gas was like $5 a gallon. And I was just like, dang, that's crazy. Another expectation that didn't meet reality was the fact that before I moved to California, everyone was telling me that you need to have a car, you need to have a reliable car to get around, because if you don't have a car, then it's going to be close to impossible to get around. Not true. For the most part, LA has a pretty decent transit system. It's definitely not like New York, obviously, but it's definitely not the worst thing either. You can get to pretty much everywhere that you need to go in LA. To me, if you're in LA, you can't, like, it's not like New York where you can hop on a train and go to different boroughs. Like, I can't hop on a train and go from East LA to Santa Ana or something like that. Like, that's not gonna happen. But you can get, like, I lived in the Highland Park area, so I could get to downtown. I would just ride the train to Union Station, get on the red, and that would get me to where I needed to get to downtown. That's only 2 trains. They would get you there relatively quickly, especially if you live in an area where you already live near a train line, near a train line. I think ours was called the Gold Line. So wherever you lived, if you lived somewhere that was relatively close, whether it was like a 5-minute walk or even if it was like a 15-minute walk, that's still pretty close. And then you can always lift an Uber to it if you wanted to. You can always lift an Uber to it if you wanted to. But I rode the bus in LA. I got on the train in LA. I would be on transit more than I would be in my car. The only time I would really drive my car was when I had to like go like run errands, like go grocery shopping or go to the mall or something that I just needed to do for myself. But if I was going to work, my job wasn't too far to where I couldn't just hop on a train and get to my job. So that's another expectation that didn't meet the reality. I just knew that I would be driving everywhere, and I wasn't. And for good reason, because I absolutely hated the traffic in LA. You got to think about it. I'm from Savannah, Georgia. The most lanes that you're going to see is maybe 4. That's it. In LA, you got 4 lanes here, 4 lanes here, a little race car track in the middle. Like, it was ridiculous. Nothing that I had ever experienced to where it gave me so much anxiety to drive. Like, even now, I genuinely do not like driving like that. If I just need to go to the store, then I'll just go to wherever I need to go. It needs to be 30 minutes or less for me to get there. And it needs to be somewhere to where I don't have to get on the highway. Because getting on the highway now, no matter where I go, honestly, gives me anxiety because of my experience in Cali. I'm pretty sure it's different from people who come from bigger cities who are used to that fast-paced gotta get there, bogarting their ways, switching lanes every 5 seconds. I'm not like that. Like it was just annoying. So needless to say, I hated driving in LA, and it's crazy because I had just got my car 2 weeks before I moved to LA. So, and I didn't really drive it that much at all, honestly, just to get to the places I needed to get to for myself. Another reason why I left LA was because I genuinely just didn't care for the vibes, honestly. And that may sound weird, but just hear me out. So basically, I guess I was just expecting something more artsy. And I know maybe it was the area that I was living in. I wasn't living like in downtown LA or Hollywood or, in those bigger areas, I guess. But I was expecting something different. I lived in an area where I didn't see many people that looked like me. I lived in a predominantly Hispanic and white neighborhood. So I didn't see a lot of people who I grew up with, meaning that for the most part, I grew up in predominantly black communities and schools. I only went to SCAD, and that was my first PWI or predominantly white experience. That was it. So, I don't know why. I just felt like there was just going to be a different vibe. I would have to go to Inglewood. I would have to go to more so like South Central area to really be around the culture and the culture that I'm familiar with, honestly. And I just felt like moving to Cali, I was just going to grasp that immediately. Now it's going to be something that was going to be easy to access for me, but it wasn't. It was like, dang, that's not fun. Another reason why I left LA is just so dang expensive. It's so expensive. What I'm paying to live in Atlanta could possibly, right now I'm living in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. What could get me what I'm paying now in LA could be maybe a studio. Not even a 1-bedroom apartment, a studio. You know what I mean? And I get it, it's the cost of living, but once you add in the cost of living to the minimum wage, and people think that $15 is a lot of money for LA, and it's not. You're barely even breaking even at that. It should be even more than that. I don't see how people think that's like, well, you were making more, and it's like, but the rent is like $3,000 for a doggone 2-bedroom apartment. Not even with you know what I mean? Like, it's very, very much so expensive. I feel like if you're living in LA and you've been living there for a very long time, you either bought your house maybe 20 years ago, or you got a deal somehow to where someone owns the house and they're renting it out, or whatever the case may be. But if it's a brand new apartment building or a brand new condo building or something like that, it's going to be expensive. And I was not about that struggle life. I really, especially when I'm already like busting my ass anyway, I'm not about to struggle even harder if I don't have to. Another reason why I left LA was because I guess the type of people that I met, it's very much so a dog eat dog world in LA. It's very vain. It's a very vain type of place to live. Everything is about faking it till you make it. You got some people who out here with Louis Vuitton belts and Supreme and going back to a house with 7 roommates. So, you got a lot of people who are really out here perpetrating, but they're not really living that life. And that comes off in their personality, and I just was not feeling it. Mind you, I did meet some really great people who I still speak with to this day, but who I'm still friends with to this day. But for the most part, I just really didn't vibe with I don't know, with the people for some reason. And it could be because everybody is somewhat an implant in LA. Like everybody isn't from, you'll meet a lot of people who are not from LA. 50% of people that you're going to meet in LA are not from LA. So that could be the reason why, but I just was not feeling the vibes. And then after 2 years of living there, I was like, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. And I feel like it's okay to get to that point. People feel like, man, I moved to this place and I didn't, get to where I wanted to get to, or achieve what I wanted to achieve. But success and achievements are, different to everybody. I feel like I achieved by even taking a leap and even going, even saying I'm going to move to this big city and see what it's about. Like, that's a big accomplishment in itself. And I saved my money, I bought my car, and I was like doing it for myself. Like, my parents were not helping me. I was really out here just working it out and paying a car note, car insurance, rent, all of that stuff, phone bill, all of that stuff, which was not cheap. It was I don't even know how I was making it. Like especially that first year was like hard on me. I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this. But I think the incentive was that my sister was there with me. And so I was like, I'm going to make this work at least for another year. And then after that, we were just like, nah, this ain't going to work, child. So, yeah, but some people find themselves in a place. I know plenty of people who move to New York and 2 or 3 years or 5 years later decide that that's just not what they want anymore. They move back home or wherever they're from, or they move to a different city. Being in a big city, especially when you're not from one, can be very hard, and you just really try to find your way. And for some people, if that's where they want to be, then they'll know, even with everything that comes with it, like they'll know that that's where they need to be. For me, realizing that I didn't necessarily have a love for wanting to do film and television necessarily, and knowing that live theater and solo performance is what I really wanted to do, and realizing that I can do that anywhere is what made my decision. I was like, I don't have to be in LA to be in the type of field that I want to be in. And there's film and television in Atlanta, and everybody is filming in Atlanta at this point. So I'm just like, you know what? I tried it. It was cool. It didn't work out. So let me just move and, see what everything is about. And so far, so good. Even though I've only been here for a year, and over half of that year, we've been plagued by COVID. So I honestly haven't been able to experience Atlanta life like I would like so far. As far as like going to different artistic things and venturing out and nightlife, I haven't really done a lot of that yet. So hopefully when they get this COVID under wraps and we can get a good hold on it, then I'll be able to really give y'all a true in-depth vision of how my experience in Atlanta so far has been. But right now, I genuinely can't give it a fair comparison to LA to Atlanta. But yeah, that is why I left Cali. I know I was a little long-winded, but I just wanted to get all of my thoughts out there. Some of my thoughts may have been jumbled up because I did not write any of this down. I'm kind of just speaking from the first thing that pops up in my head. But if you have any comments, or anybody else who has had this experience from moving from a smaller city to a big city, please put them down in the comments below so we can discuss and share, and everyone can bring in their thoughts together. But until the next video, I am Ashley Grace. Like I said, please like, subscribe, and comment. I would love to see what you all think. Please shoot down some ideas for me, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.